evening. Today I'll be presenting the effects of different fertilizers on radishes. Before I start, let me tell you a little bit about myself. My name is Esperanza Bolanos. I'm a senior at Galileo Magnet High School. In the fall, I plan on attending Moore College of Art and Design to major in animation and game art. The reason why I chose this project is because I've always had an interest in gardening. Gardening is one of my dad's favorite hobbies, and I would often help him out in his garden. I also believe protecting the environment is important. Finding more sustainable ways to grow plants can help reduce the amount of pollution in the world. The reason why I chose radishes rather than other crops is because they can be used in medicine due to some enzymes that they contain. The radish used for medicine is popular in other countries, and the medicines include medicines that help with fevers, stomach pain, and common cold. My study focuses on comparing the effects of different fertilizers. There are two main types of fertilizers, organic and inorganic. Studies have shown that organic fertilizers emit less pollution when compared to inorganic fertilizers. Organic fertilizers are a good way to use food waste that would otherwise land up in landfills, creating more pollution. Organic fertilizers can also be cheaper because they typically use waste that is easily obtainable, like kitchen scraps. But preparing organic fertilizers can sometimes take extra work when compared to inorganic, since inorganic fertilizers often come ready to use. Inorganic fertilizers have been found to reduce the amount of nutrients in soil over time, while organic fertilizers tend to replenish these nutrients. There are certain nutrients needed in order to grow a healthy plant. Some of these nutrients include nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, and calcium. Soil can often lack these nutrients, and fertilizers can help replenish these nutrients. Organic fertilizers gather their nutrients from the waste used to make them. This results in varying amounts of nutrients in each type of fertilizer. This is why testing different fertilizers is important. Not all plants need the same amount of nutrients. This is why testing different crops can be helpful. A fertilizer that works for one plant may not have the same results for a different plant. There has been very limited research done with radishes. My research question is, how do different organic fertilizers like fish emulsion and inorganic fertilizers affect radish plant growth? My research hypothesis was, if organic and inorganic fertilizers are used to grow radishes, then the one grown with organic fertilizers will produce bigger radishes. My null hypothesis was, if organic and inorganic fertilizers are used to grow radishes, then there will be no difference in size between the radishes. My independent variable was the different types of fertilizers. I tested fruit peels, coffee grounds with eggshells, Epsom salt, and 2 different store-bought fertilizers, and also fish emulsion. My control was the group without fertilizer. The dependent was the growth of the radishes. And some of the constants included the types of radishes, amount of water, type of soil, and the amount of sunlight. First, I gathered all my materials and prepared the fertilizers. I dried the coffee grounds, banana peels, and orange peels, and then grinded them up. I then mixed the coffee grounds with the eggshells with the recommended ratio, suggested from different studies, and stored it in a Ziploc bag. I did the same with the fruit peels. I then applied the fertilizers to the soil and planted the seeds. Then I watered my radishes every day for 32 days. After 32 days, I gathered all of the radishes and measured their length. I then compiled all my rad data and conducted my statistical analysis. I conducted a one-way ANOVA to determine if there was a significant difference between the groups. It was determined at the significant level of 0.05 that the null hypothesis was rejected with a p-value less than 0.001. This graph shows that Dr. Earth, a organic store-bought fertilizer, shown in blue, produced the longest radish leaves with the least amount of variability, performing better than the inorganic BIGO fertilizer, which is shown in the color green, which had more variability in the lengths. It is also worthy to note that the eggshells with coffee grounds, shown in pink, and the salt shown in yellow, have lower mean length than the control group in red. This could be due to fertilizer ratios being insufficient at providing the nutrients needed. The variability could have also resulted from the cold weather. At the 0.05 level of significance, there is sufficient evidence to conclude that there is a difference between the fertilizer groups. This means that there are certain fertilizers that are more efficient at growing radishes than other, producing bigger radishes. This also suggests that organic fertilizers can be used to grow radishes without affecting its quality. The results of my study show that organic fertilizers can grow radishes efficiently, providing a more sustainable way to grow radishes, meaning that organic fertilizers can be an alternative to inorganic. The organic fertilizers can be implemented in small gardens to local farms and will reduce the amount of pollution and even cost without having to worry about it affecting the quality. My biggest limitation was the time of year I grew the radishes. The ideal growing season for radishes is early spring, and I grew them during winter. Another limitation is the nutrients in the fertilizers and soil were not tested before growing to determine the ratio of the fertilizers. This could have provided the plants with too much or too little nutrients. A bigger sample size would have given more reliable results since all of my groups had lots of variabilities. For future research, other types of organic fertilizers can be tested, since there are many different types that provide different nutrients. Testing different organic fertilizers can lead to finding a fertilizer that is more suitable for a certain area. The same study can be done testing the nutrients needed to more accurately apply the fertilizers in order to get an accurate result. There are also different types of radishes that could react different to the different fertilizers which can be tested. With this study, I learned how to do the research process, but I also learned useful skills that I can use in my career in animation, like how to be more organized and how to manage long-term projects. I would like to give a thank you to Ms. Long and my parents for helping me with my research. Ms. Long helped me with my research assignment, and my parents helped me gathering my materials. I would also like to thank the audience for listening to my presentation. Any questions? Ms. Davis?
Were those photos of your radishes?
No.
Can you show me about how big yours got? Did I hear you say 30 days?
It was 32 days. Since they were grown in the winter, they didn't really form really big. They got around like this, not too big.
I was going to ask a question along those lines. Do you think there would have been a difference instead of length doing the weight?
Dr. Brown asked if there would have been a difference if I did weight instead of length. I was planning on doing weight, but since the radishes didn't really form, I found it that length could have given a better result for my statistical analysis.
Did you make or purchase a fish emulsion? What's a fish emulsion?
Dr. Brown asked what is fish emulsion if I made it. Fish emulsion is basically like ground fish parts. I did not make it, I bought it.